Aww. What's up, everybody? Long time no see. Today is March 1st, and I'm not 1 week down, I'm not 2 weeks down, I'm not 3 weeks down, but I'm actually 4 weeks down into my internal medicine rotation. That means that my test is next Friday, and I really have to study. And you'll know what that means. Like one of those founding fathers with my hair like that. Now we will sign the Constitution of America. What's up, guys? Today is March 15th. We're in the middle of March, and you guys know that I posted 5 weeks ago my latest video, so it's another 5 weeks down. That means another rotation down, and I am done with rotation number 8. This rotation video is going to be a little different because, one, I was really bad with recording during this rotation. I think I only have footage from like one day. And two, we have the curveball that is the coronavirus right now. And you guys are probably wondering how that affected my rotation, my school, what we're doing. So I will get to that. Did not think this through at all. So without further ado, I guess I'll get to the footage that I do have, and I will fill in the gaps later. And then after that, I'll give you guys the update on everything that you want to know. I've been feeling so. This is usually where I hang out. This is where all the residents and I do our notes, and this is kind of our hangout space. So if you can see, hanging out, just kind of sitting around. This is where I study too. As you can see, I'm totally alone because I think everyone's out doing rounds with their attendings, but we already finished. So I'm just chilling and doing my notes. But it's nice because I feel like here I'm actually treated like a resident. I'm not just a PA student that's third wheel. I actually have patients that I follow, and I'm learning a ton of stuff. So that's cool. And very nice to have towards the end of PA school when everything is just slowly coming together in my brain. I'm actually like making connections and I'm learning a ton. I'm tired though. I have the weekend off and I've been working all week. 6:30 to 5 p.m. is kind of rough. And that's the extent of the footage that I have. So yeah, this rotation was internal medicine, and I finished the rotation this past Friday, so 2 days ago. This was probably the most challenging rotation that I've had so far, but it definitely challenged me for the better. I was forced to follow a patient from the moment that they came into the ED up until discharge. So that meant like me just making sure that they were having the proper lab work done, the proper testing done, anything that needed to be done. I was always watching. I was always making sure that everything was taken care of. You really underestimate how much goes on during a hospital stay, including what can go wrong, especially with patients with so many comorbidities. You have to think about each and everything, which was very different for me. I haven't done an inpatient rotation yet, and I'm used to being outpatient where you see the patient for like, I don't know, an hour and they're on their way, whereas this, I'm with a patient for basically days on end. So that forced me out of my comfort zone, but I learned a ton. I feel like I'm going to say that in every single clip of this video. I learned a ton because I did. I feel like my brain's just like swollen up from so much information, but so cool. I wasn't totally on my own on this rotation. When I say that I had patients, they were my residents' patients, and I took like 1 or 2 of them and I just followed them. My resident would do all the orders and figure out what to do. They would do most of the planning, but like I was part of that. I was able to like see the labs that came back, everything, and then we'd sit down and be like, okay, what are we going to do next? Like, what's the next test we're going to order? What's the next step in this whole plan for this patient? So that was definitely good. In any given day, this rotation consisted of me getting there super early in the morning, like 6:30. I would check the charts of patients I had for like any new developments from overnight. And then I would go pre-round on them, which was me just going to see them by myself, doing an exam. And then I would present to the attending physician on rounds. And it sounds scary, but at this point in PA school, during a patient presentation is pretty run-of-the-mill and you get used to it pretty quickly. I thought I would never say that. I mean, presenting to an attending is always terrifying. I still get nervous, but like as you do it more and more and often, it's not too terrible. Rounds would sometimes take us like 2 hours to complete, which was long, but it made the morning go pretty quick. And at lunch, I actually got free lunch because the residency program gets catered. And during lunch, we would have educational lectures, which was very nice. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my 2 residents and I would have a 30-minute lecture by an attending. So between the Tuesday and Thursday things and lunch conferences every day, on top of just this rotation being a ton of me learning so much things at once, I learned a ton. Somebody should count how many times I said I learned a ton and like comment down below because I feel like it's topping 50, but I did. Some people ask me how working as a PA student alongside residents who've been doing this for months, like how is that? How do you feel? Do you feel like you're totally way in over your head? Do you feel like you're drowning? Do you feel like you're totally not? You feel like you don't belong? But the thing is, I was very pleasantly surprised here. I knew that my PA program prepped me very well for clinicals, and like I've been doing pretty well on past rotations. But being alongside residents for these past 5 weeks, I didn't feel like I was totally out of my element at all. I thought that they would be like 50 steps above me, but I felt like we were pretty like even, which was pretty cool. And that was very good for my confidence, especially at this stage in the game. I only have 1 more rotation. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, you know, you always get down on yourself. Like, I don't know if I'm good enough to be a PA yet, but you gotta trust the process because it works. I actually feel like I can function as a medical professional now, and you know, now it's just a matter of tying up some loose ends, so yay. Even though I was concerned about having minimal time to study, I actually wound up doing the best on this EOR over any of the other ones, so that was a shock to me, but not really. I was blessed to have internal as my 8th rotation and not like 1st, so at this stage, like a lot of the things on the test I'd already studied before on past EORs. So for me, trying to study was more of just like review, and that was a great relief, especially with my crazy schedule. I didn't have to go all out studying things, but I have to say, Picmonic, my man Picmonic, was one of the best tools that I had for tying up any loose ends. It was wonderful. I don't use Picmonic for everything because trying to memorize all of the cool stories that they have for every single thing would just do more harm than good, because then I would mix things up. But I pick like very specific things that I have a hard time remembering, and then I watch the Picmonic on that, and that usually does the trick for me, and I get it and I know it, and it's great. And it's a very quick way to get yourself to really learn something that you're having trouble with. Thanks, Picmonic, I love you. So if you guys don't know, you guys can get 20% off Picmonic by following my link down below. Check it out. It's a great opportunity, and of course I highly recommend it. Anyway, that's about all I have to report on from these last 5 weeks. I went to the hospital, I left late, that was my life. The weekends I was studying. Not much fun, but it went very fast, and I enjoyed it. And now we're here. Switching gears a bit, I thought I'd take some time to talk about how this crazy coronavirus has affected everything for me, from my rotations to my school to like what's next and even graduation. So I guess I'll organize this more into like a Q&A format so people can like follow along. Gotta adjust my camera here. People have been asking me, have I been able to finish my rotation? And the answer to that question is yes, I was. This virus started up 2 weeks ago, but it didn't get totally nuts until this final week. At the end of last week, there were definitely less people in the ED because people were being told not to come unless absolutely necessary to prevent the spread of germs, and also to reserve beds for patients that really needed them. So we didn't have a lot of admissions, and I was able to study with some of that free time, which was nice, but it was just really weird. A hospital that usually has a really busy ER that no longer wasn't, just felt like something was really off. And then leading into this week, slowly I started to see things more affected. Staff was just like kind of on edge. You could tell it was stressful. There were more security guards checking people's IDs to get into the building, and the hospital only limited 1 visitor per person. So that was a little strange. And then I heard that they weren't letting certain students into the operating rooms, but they were still allowing like medical students and PA students. So it was slowly starting to get more restrictive. In all, I would say my rotation was pretty much unchanged despite having less patients to admit from the ED, but some of my classmates got a few days cut short because their site said you need to leave or not allowing students anymore. I didn't experience that, but I've heard it's been happening. This was to reserve masks, gowns, etc., and other PPE for like essential medical personnel, obviously. It wasn't against us. And to limit the amount of people in the hospital, so yeah. For my next rotation, that's scheduled to start a week from tomorrow, general surgery. I haven't yet reached out to my preceptor. I'm going to tomorrow, but I imagine that everything should be as scheduled. My site is going to be between an outpatient clinic and at the hospital. So I think worst case, I'll be in the office for a number of days before this blows over. I'm okay with that. I don't think anyone's sites in my class have banned us yet entirely, but my classmates are definitely concerned if theirs will still be on or not. I don't know if anyone's has definitely been canceled yet from my class, but I've heard people in other PA programs are having that issue, so we'll just have to wait and see. As for what's happening right now, I'm on spring break this week. Originally, my program scheduled to have our summative exams to be this week starting tomorrow. So starting tomorrow, I was supposed to have 2 OSCEs and 1 written exam. The written exam was basically supposed to be exactly like the boards, and the school has to give us this exam before we graduate to prove that we're like competent PAs and we can work out in the field. But obviously we had to postpone that until further notice. Basically everything is at a standstill right now. We can't graduate if we don't take our summatives, so my school is currently trying their best to try and reschedule them. I have a feeling it'll be after this next rotation. But the thing is, we don't know if certain people's rotations are even going to happen. So I think that we're all just going to have to wait and see who can or can't do their final rotation and go from there. My program did warn us that they're going to try to do everything in their power not to delay graduation. But if people can't complete the last rotation, it might mean we have to delay it. And we all scheduled for our PANCE exams already in June. So I don't really know I don't really know what's going to happen if we have to put off graduation, because we graduate just like 2 or 3 weeks before basically everyone's supposed to take the boards. So I think that's just a matter of hearing from AAPA and seeing what they're going to do. Everything's just screeched to a halt. I mean, everything's just closed. We're all just like sitting in our houses with no toilet paper because everyone stole toilet paper. And we're just going to have to see and how this turns out. I guess it's going to make for a nice way to look back on PA school and that I had to get through a virus in order to get my degree. Anyway, for now, I guess I'm going to enjoy this week I have off. And I think that wraps up some things. So everyone, please stay safe. Please wash your hands for 20 seconds with warm soap and water. And I'll catch you all later. If you have any other questions, you know where to find me. Down below, Instagram, you know. So take care. Wish you all the best. I will see you after this is all over. Goodbye.